Alright, this is Captain America, the best superhero in all the world of all time ever. And this is issue 379, written by one of my favourite writers, Mark Griswold. And this one has got Captain America teaming up with Kazar, another of my favourite characters. And they are teaming up to fight this villain, this new character called Marrinan. And straight up I will say this is a really good issue, because I am going to be doing a lot of talking about the sad history of this here Marrinan, and how he's actually quite representative of a point that I want to make in this video. It's something I really believe as well. I think it's very evident in comics. We start off this story though with Captain America and Kazar and their other friend doing a bit of running like Mo Farah. At this point, Mark Griswold was writing both Captain America and Kazar's comics. This is his 78th issue on Captain America, and I think at this point he was up to about issue 16 on Kazar. And this issue, it is kind of an advertisement for Kazar, but there's not really wrong with that. Both Captain America and Kazar, they were on the Avengers at this point, so it kind of makes sense that they would go out for a run around the block together. Then they get an alert from Avengers Mansion, and this is Hayley Atwell's from the films, and she is going on saying that there is an emergency somewhere and they have got to do something about it. So Kazar, he uses his magic bracelets to make him and Captain America this sleigh. See, it ties into Christmas, doesn't it? One thing I can see people complaining about is Captain America and Kazar. They both are very similar characters in terms of personality and voice, and I think that is because they are largely best identified by the writer Mark Griswold, and they come off very similar. They're kind of just naturally really good friends because they are very similar. I kind of like that, but at the same time, I think if you're gonna do a team up, you'd want two characters that are different. But this is fine. It is a good issue, a good Captain America story, a good Kazar story, and here is Marrinan. And now it is time for some backstory. This is the first appearance of Marrinan, but it isn't the first appearance of the character. He was the original Moonstump. He was introduced in the 1970s in issues of Captain America. I think it was issue 176, but different quotas on that because I think I am really off. Because I think, wasn't 175 the one where Captain America quits? And that was right after the story with Moonstump. So I don't know, maybe it was 167 and I'm getting the 607 the wrong way around. After that story in Captain America, he wasn't used anymore. In the 80s, Roy Sternman, a fantastic writer, he brought the character back, but only to have a woman, a very sexy woman, take his powers from him and become the new Moonstump. That is her there, actually, that's her. She was a fantastic character. Roy Sternman used her really well in the Hulk and in the Avengers, and then many years later she went on to join the Thunderbolts, and she became one of that book's biggest stars. But the guy who was the first Moonstump, for the sake of it, I'll just keep calling him Marrinan. Well, after the sexy woman had taken his powers, he wasn't really heard from again. He could just have been ignored forever, and it wouldn't stick out really. But Mark Griswold, he realised there was a chance to bring the character back, there was a story to tell, so here he reintroduced him as Marrinan, with new powers and a new costume, and the story is, he is wanting revenge against the new Moonstump for stealing his powers. It's a clever move really, and Marrinan, his powers, they aren't just a copy of Moonstump, he has really different powers. He used the machines that Baron Zero used to help Wonder Woman transition into Wonder Man. So now he has got like Wonder Man powers. So completely different power set. And he's a legitimate threat. He's really powerful. And my point is, good writers, people like Mark Griswold, people like Roy Sternman, people like Roger Thomas, and there's loads of others really. They create characters like Neferman here. They say something and they create something else from it. Whereas bad writers, they can only destroy. They tear stuff down and mock it. They say that it is shit. They say that it is stupid. They completely screw with something just to kind of mask and draw attention away from their lack of creativity. And you're probably wondering where that second part comes into this issue. Neferman, after this, he was in an Avengers issue and another issue of Captain America and maybe a Kazar issue. But then Kurt Busiek showed up. And in 1999, he started off an Iron Man story by just killing this character off to instead bring back a long dead character from his own personal nostalgia. And in killing this character off, he boneheadedly robbed Moonstump, the new one, of a recurring villain. He robbed anyone the chance of telling a story with Neferman, just because this character, he comes from the 90s, and the 90s was shit, and Kurt Busiek hates the 90s, and Kurt Busiek thinks the 90s was shit, and just watch what Kurt Busiek can do. Fucking toxic little cunt. Him, Michael Brian Benson, fucking Martin Quaid, cunts like that. Tom Beaver, don't forget him, he usually edits them. They just destroy things. They cannot create. Name me one Kurt Busiek character that has as much going for it as Neferman here. And didn't give us any of that shite about how he created Song Girl from the Thunderbolts. That's a fucking load of shite. What it is, he is butthurt that he isn't listed as the creator of Song Girl on her Wikipedia page. And that is fucking pathetic, isn't it? Writing comics and writing a character that people liked, it means nothing to him if he doesn't receive a fucking bullshit accolade on a fucking Wikipedia page. Fucking little fucking cunt-faced bastard cunt. And he didn't create that character. She was around for 20 years before he got his fucking flabby cunt mitts on her. And if he really cared about creating that specific character and receiving credit for creating it, why didn't he just introduce a new fucking character? No, what happened was he lucked out and wrote a character, and he thinks that he should be considered her creator. Fucking stupid load of fucking twat piss. The thing is, he could only D out with that character, and it wasn't totally shite, because she was already created. If he had created a new character, she would be rubbish. Like, just look at his original characters for proof. You have got, we have got the Token Black from the Avengers. Not my words, his, from his own fucking story. You have got him, a character that everyone reading Avengers hated. Then you have got Alfred's perfect Brazilian foster child that immediately joined the Avengers and has barely appeared in a comic after he stopped writing the Avengers. Then you have got the fucking Electric Girl from Thunderbolts, the character that the only idea people had for was to keep killing her off. Then you have got Charlie Cole, who he didn't even create. He took from a contest winner, and Marvel cannot use that character anymore because they didn't want to pay the contest winner any royalties. Song Girl was not created by Kurt Busiek. He's a fucking little whiny bitch who wants the credit for creating that character or any of the Thunderbolts because he fucking can't create halfway decent characters himself. And here's another thing. He always cites that he gave Songbird a personality. He gave her a fully fleshed character. he didn't really. He gave her a fucking inconsistent motivation. But he always cites the same issue of his run on Thunderballs. If you hold on. Where is it? No, it's not in that tray. It's the next one. Is this it? No, that isn't. It's the next one. I really should have planned this in advance, but I went on a rant and now I have got to prove it. Right, issue 9 is just before this one. He always cites this issue here. The one with her on the cover, where she strikes out on her own. And you know what? It's not a bad issue, but if we turn a couple of pages, you'll also see that it isn't by him. Well, not just by him. It's co-written, or rather scripted, by Roy Sternman, a good writer. Some girl, if Kurt Busiek thinks this issue is his magnum opus, then he is fucking deluded in convincing himself that he was the sole creator of this issue. But some girl, right, she was created in the late 70s, early 80s. She was actually, fittingly enough, she was created by Mark Griswold in an issue of the Things comic. Kazar was in that issue too. He got into a fight with her. It's like it's all come full circle. So Captain America and Kazar, they fight Neferman, who has taken Moonstomp hostage, and he leaps away, and they follow after him. And really cool picture that there. I like that. That could be like a poster or something. Then Captain America realizes who they are fighting. He remembers him from the old issues. And oh, I missed this. This is a footnote here. Captain America issue 170 and 175. That's where Neferman originally was in. I wasn't that far off with my guess. Neferman, he runs into a church, and if you are looking for some sort of symbolism in this, then you are a fucking idiot. We get a little recap here of how Moonstomp stole his powers and how he got his new Neferman powers, and then he starts doing a little rant here. He goes, "I now have the powers to do anything my heart desires, my dear Moonstomp. And the first thing my heart desires is to pay you back for all the mental anguish and years of wasted life you are responsible for." So he has got a good motivation. He has got his own internal continuity, and he has got relationships with other characters, and this is actually a very valuable commodity for a character. Like, if you look at some villains, some major villains as well, one of the problems they might have is that they don't really have any real personal relationships, or they have no connections outside of who they are most famous for fighting, like the Mandarin from Iron Man. But here, you have got a character, Neferman, and he has got a relationship with another character, and you can transpose this to any story. You can do a Spider-Man story where Neferman is, where Neferman, he is out to get Spider-Man because Spider-Man can help him take Moonstomp's powers away. Or you can do a Fantastic Four story, or, well, anything really. And furthermore, later down the line, when Moonstomp, when she breaks out as a main character in Thunderballs, well, she already has an enemy in her rogues gallery. Of course, if Kurt Busiek was a creator, he would have fucking realised that robbing Moonstomp of both a legitimate threat and a solo enemy that could easily be made into a dependable recurring foe for the Thunderballs, he would have realised that instead of just fucking killing them off in a single page, leaving them a fucking pile of pathetic dust. Prepare yourself, woman. I have been fantasizing about what I would do to you for years, and I assure you I have developed a pretty wild imagination. You might be getting worried now. You might be thinking, oh no, this story better not be another one of the famous Marvel rape stories, But no, this is Mark Griswold, and he is a great writer. Instead, he has Moonstump flip the tables and use her sexy psychologist powers to seduce Neferman. And again, Kurt Busiek, he reckons he created all these Thunderballs characters because he had the great idea to basically just rip off an old Silver Age story and milk the twist ending. Moonstump here, she's pretty much the same character as she is in the Thunderballs. She's fully realised by writers like Mark Griswold here and Roy Sternman. Kurt Busiek, he did not reinvent some weak female villain who faints like he tells people. This character was already built up as a manipulative, sexy, duplicitous, sexy villainess. There is Moonstump's original costume, probably her second best costume. Her best costume is the one from the end of the new Thunderballs, the white one. So Cap and Kazar, they track down Neferman and Moonstump, and Cap realises that Moonstump isn't a hostage anymore, so Kazar rushes into attack, and I like this little bit here. And Captain America, he is fighting Moonstump, and Kazar is fighting Neferman. And this does make sense, I guess. Neferman is the bigger threat, and Kazar is more powerful. But it is a Captain America comic. I want to see Captain America fight the baddie. Moonstump, she tries to manipulate Captain America by saying she was a hostage, and he doesn't buy it. And then we see Kazar, he keeps fighting Neferman, and it's a good fight. Captain America, he is distracted when they're fighting, and Moonstump tries to escape, and Captain America is too quick with his reflexes and stops her. This is a really good issue for Kazar. I said before, it's as much as an advertisement, and I like Kazar. I don't mind it. Neferman, he defeats Kazar, and that is a good punch there. Some artists, they didn't do punching very well, but I think that is quite good. And then we have this bit that is a bit ridiculous. It's cheesy. Captain America, he throws his shield at Neferman, and Neferman catches it in his mouth with his teeth, and he spits it out. And I am probably overthinking things here, but I think this might be at odds with how Captain America's shield would work. Surely the momentum and the velocity of his throw, combined with the shield's indestructibility, it would just either sever his head off or hit him with such force that he would eventually be knocked down. Like, no matter how powerful Neferman is, the shield is stronger. I don't know though, this is Mark Griswold, so I'm inclined to go with this. He'll have thought it through. Neferman, he's like an energy form now, so that's why he doesn't like cut up his mouth badly and stuff. Although on that front, he should probably be leaking energy out. I don't know, I'm overthinking things here. It's a cheesy little scene to write up a villain. It's meant to be badass or something. Didn't really like it, but it has been a lot worse than that. Then Neferman, he is getting ready to escape with his hostage, and Moonstump, who Kurt Busiek didn't invent a personality for, she twats Neferman in the head with her energy powers when he wasn't expecting it, and he's down for the count. But when he fell down, he also pinned down Moonstump, and Captain America's like, put your hands where I can see them. And again, just to hammer the point home, Kurt Busiek did fuck all when it comes to Moonstump and her character and his allegedly reinventing the character. That's something he takes so much credit for and insists on receiving more and more credit for as being creators of these characters. Here, she surrenders because she realises she is at a deficit. She has got a losing hand. She is smart. She is cunning. Kurt Busiek had nothing to do with this comic, and the character is... I tell you what, I would love if Moonstump was a real person and she met Kurt Busiek and just fucking sociopathically manipulated him into believing that he created everything in comics until he just like explodes into a fucking mess of shit like in Watching Men. So the story ends with the villains defeated and Kazar takes him off to jail. The story, it could do with a lot more Captain America, But this is a done-in-one, standalone team-up story. It's fine for what it is, and it is quite enjoyable. Then we have got a backup story about Captain America's girlfriend Rachel. And they did this starting around issue 340. They would have backup stories in Captain America, also by Mark Griswold. And it would always be about his supporting cast or setting up future story arcs. And I saw a great comment somewhere about this practice. And they said that if these weren't included as backup stories, if they were just interspersed and inserted into the main stories as subplot, then people would hold Mark Griswold's run on Captain America, they would hold it up as being this really dense, hyper-plotted masterpiece. Kind of like how idiots say that about Christopher Clairvoyant's Excellent Men run. I think the reason he did these backup stories, though, is instead of subplot pages in the main story, the reason was he saw value in having stories about characters. He wanted Rachel to have her own solo story with her own logo and everything, rather than just have her as part of Captain America's story. He wanted these characters he created to stand the test of time, to stand on their own and have their own life outside of Captain America and his book. So what's happening is Rachel is being stalked and someone has sent her a letter warning her about it. And I actually laughed at this because it's silly. This is a letter warning her from an anonymous source, but whoever made this has spent at least, I would say, 3 hours making this up, finding all the little letters and stuff sourced from magazines and things like that. And it's meant to be like someone doing a quick warning behind someone else's back, but this has clearly taken a lot of planning, like glue, scissors, like it's just ridiculous. And can I just say, Captain America's girlfriend Rachel is very beautiful. Like, she is his best girlfriend. I really fancy her. So she gans to the gym and then she gans to Avengers Mansion. But before she gets there, she gets kidnapped. And honestly, massive props to her kidnapper for having the balls to do it right out in front of Avengers Mansion. Like, there is no fucking way that they didn't have security cameras that could pick up what's happening right outside their fucking gate. It's like the stupidest fucking plan around. They could have kidnapped her at the gym or like 2 streets away, but they seemed to wait until she was right at the gates of the superheroes' headquarters. To be continued, and the next issue picks up on that thread. She has been kidnapped by the Snake Club, and letters page here, and this is interesting because a lot of people really took issue with Captain America 370 when he let the Red Skull live. What happened was the Red Skull was ill and in bed and he was dying, and Captain America just left him. He didn't try to arrest him, he just left him. And I think I do have problems with that, but the context is important. I think Captain America was planning to arrest him after he had recuperated, but yeah, it's kind of an odd thing for Captain America to do. Especially since when he left, Red Skull was rejuvenated. He should have stayed around, I think, or like brought S.H.I.E.L.D. agents with him and they could just watch over him and arrest him when he was walking again. Good story, that one, though, when Mr. Magnet throws him into the Fallout shelter. Good story. This is a good story too. Captain America 379. Kurt Busiek had nothing to do with it, so of course it is good. I rate it 7 thumbs up.